Hey everyone, I'm Gareth, and this is the WLToys 244016, version 1 and the version 2, and I've put a lot of time, effort and money into upgrading this one to make it go as quick as possible, because out of the box the performance is pretty woeful really, and just not quite good enough, especially compared to the Micro B, the Microbe and the Spec B, all three of which I have. So I had the comparison at home already, and I thought, well, what can I do to make this car as good to drive as those? So what we'll do is we'll go over the things that I didn't like with because this V2 is in stock form. So we'll go over all the bits, and then we'll go over the modified, show you some running footage, and you can see what's what. So turn this off. Okay, so we'll start with the obvious thing, which is the suspension. These friction shocks, which are just so ridiculously bouncy, and you can see when driving along you're losing so much traction and just bouncing around at the front end. And also, check this out. So you see the look at the spring here, and everything's just hopping around. So there's a lot of feels like there's a lot of slop in the drivetrain, and it's all just being transferred into that spring. So that's really not ideal. So the shocks are obviously terrible. Then the next problem is you've got the radio gear. So this is the radio, and on the first one I had, the steering would not return to center very well at all. It just kept sticking in place, and something that's quite common with the Losi as well is the fact that one side, it turns better one way than the other. So you can see here, that's right, turning left, not so good. And with the Losi, that's actually fixable, because you can go into a programming mode and you can set the endpoints. So it's a much better system really, but I don't believe you can do that with the WLToys. So although it does have a gyro, which is like, I guess that's a good point, not having that ability to correct the steering is a massive negative. And overall the radio system is just not as good. I know a lot of people don't like the SLT2, but for the WLToys, for the Losi, I think it's perfectly fine. It goes really well. So yeah, so wasn't happy with the radio. That brings us on to the motor. Now this motor is the one from the original car, and they are just the most magnetic thing I've ever seen in a motor. Like, well, nothing in a slot car that can lift like that. It's quite ridiculous. So I wasn't quite happy with the motor, and I wanted to swap it out. And finally, the rear tyres are just dreadful on this thing, and it's really hard to get the traction down on pretty much any surface I've driven on. I haven't driven it on carpet yet. That would be the next test, I suppose. But yeah, basically just on pretty much every other surface, the car just spins out if you accelerate too hard. So all in all, a bit of a swing and a miss really. And obviously I know it was, supposed to be a budget Micro B, and it is a clone plastic chassis though, compared to the metal on the Losi. So yeah, it's a shame. I mean, I do like WLToys, big fan of the 28 scales and the 979s. Yeah, I like those trucks as well. So this was a shame. Anyway, so let's move on to the modified version then. So first things first, yeah, I've removed the body post and I've gone for a bit of Velcro. Now I know a lot of people say they actually don't like Velcro, but I think it's perfectly adequate and does the job for me. So I was quite happy to switch that over. So starting at the front end, then you can see I've got these adjustable turnbuckles. Now these are just from AliExpress, and if I'm honest, they're okay, but they're not brilliant. One thing to be aware of with them is that the cup sides are handed. So I think this one is actually upside down here, but if you put them in the other way up, then they will hold in place a bit better, and because I was getting a lot of just like driving along, and then the steering arm would just fall off, which was really frustrating on both sides. So yeah, so it took me a little while to get those sorted out, and one of them I've had to glue as well because the plastic, the thread just wasn't gripping into the plastic particularly well either. So moving back from that, we've got the suspension. Now I've tried 3 different suspension setups for this. So I first of all went with an AliExpress oil shock set of oil shocks, and they were okay, but I wasn't really getting much return on the front end, even after taking the whole front end apart and making sure that these arms were moving freely and things. It just wasn't moving very smoothly, so I wasn't particularly happy with it. So then I bit the bullet and got a set of the Enduro shocks, and one of those was leaking. So, you know, I'd leave the car on my desk and then come back in the next morning and there'd be a pile of oil and it would be drooping down at the front. So that was a bit annoying. Tried to fix those with some O-rings, but then it just made them so stiff. So in the end, I just bit the bullet and bought a set of the Micro B stock shocks. So these are the ones that they come with the car. And the reason I like these is because they just clip onto the ball studs, and you don't have to put on those fiddly lengths of rod and, you know, screw rod with little O-rings and things like that, which just kept falling apart on me. So I was a bit frustrated with those. So I much prefer the fact that these just clip onto these ball studs, as I say. So I think these are better, and in my opinion, that's what I would go for. Next, you've got servo. Now, I've been really unlucky with my servos. So originally I did have one of these Endura, the INJS 480s, and it failed on me very rapidly, so I had to send that back. And so then I was using the stock servo with just a metal, a metal servo horn, and it just wasn't giving me the movement. And as you can see here, it was just losing steering, so I wasn't getting that good steering left and right like I was after. So ultimately I then pulled the trigger on the Eco Power. So this is the Eco Power 625, the micro servo. This is a really nice servo, but the only difficulty with this one is you have to grind down the servo horn to make it fit into the micro buggies, because it's got a longer horn designed for the SCX24. So you need to be aware of that. And annoyingly, this one also failed, so I had to send that back, and it's come back, is working now. So that'll be going into the V2 down the line. So that's the servo. Next step is I've actually replaced the top deck and the receiver cover, because I've gone with the Losi Micro B board, the Spectrum board, 2-in-1 ESC RX, because obviously not happy with the original radio, so I wanted to get a shot of that. So these boards cost about £25, I think, which is a bit of, it's quite steep really, isn't it? But you can pick up the radio second hand, the transmitter, for about 10-12 quid on eBay, I think it was. And then yeah, you had to buy all the body parts, chassis parts to get these 2 components. So yeah, more expense there. And then finally at the back we've got the Endura 045 motor, which is yeah, a real pokey unit, actually goes like stink, so really pleased with that. Word of warning on the battery actually before I forget, and that is that the, should I show you, see on this one, so this is the on the WLToys as standard, the red wire goes into the left, and on the Losis it goes in, the left wire is on black. So the positive goes into the right hand side. So you will need to, if you are going to switch the board, you are going to have to lever these lever these up, pull the wires out and switch them around again. Red goes into the right, and that's it. And then it will, this is a bit, I'm not charged at the moment actually, because I've been whizzing it around the skate park, but yeah, check this out. just sounds so much quieter and smoother. You're not seeing all that wiggling around at the back end through the suspension as we were on this one. Tyres ballooning. These are new tyres actually, and these are just from AliExpress, but I have retained the front rib tyres, and that's because I wanted to keep it looking like the Losi. The only difference is that these rear tyres are bigger than the Losi ones, the ones you get on AliExpress. I'm not sure why, but yeah, they are larger, as are the front tyres. These are the fronts you come with them, which are the spiked similar to the front of these rears. But yeah, they're just much larger. In fact, if you look here, here's the original tyre, and you can feel how bad these tyres feel in your hand. They're just very plasticky, hard ridge on the edge, and then not a lot of going on in the middle. But this is the same sort of thing as these, and you can see how much bigger they are. It's about a millimetre all the way around. So what's that, 2 mils in diameter? I'd say larger. What else have I changed on this? There was one more thing. So yeah, put the new wheels. Yes, brass hexes. So you can just see inside the front wheel. I've put these brass hexes all the way around rather than the plastic ones. So yeah, that is my WLToys 244016. I've got a FlySky GPS on the way. I'm really looking forward to seeing how fast this goes compared to this one and to the Losi and the Spec B and the Micro. Yeah, so enjoy this running footage in a skate park, and hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.